Hi Aries, and welcome to your March 2021 general reading. As always, take what resonates, leave the rest, yada yada yada. In the description box below, I'll have information about the decks that I use, how to book a one-on-one session with me, as well as a link to my new class, Total Tarot. So for aspiring readers, check that out. Otherwise, let's hop into your reading. So I'm going to start off by pulling a few oracle cards. Oh, okay. Oh, I guess you get 4. Excuse me. So first we have death. I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. Empathy. I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. Failure. I understand the mistake isn't only an opportunity to learn. And envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Okay. So there is some situation here that created a lot of endings. Had you, you've been really forced to release or let go of certain things, and it maybe wasn't on your time necessarily. But you're starting to see all kind of perspectives, versions of what went down in order to not just be so within your own energy. You were perhaps feeling really isolated, really beside oneself to some degree, and now you're starting to open back up, to blossom, to flower, and to find grace in the situations that occurred. But here on the other end, we have failure and envy, which is telling me that perhaps you're upset in some way, that you feel left behind. Perhaps that you don't have the right resources or support to maintain certain things. But in a way, it's really because in some way you've let yourself down here. And it could have to do with a lot of things that have been released. But maybe it's because of this, because you didn't see the signs, because you weren't willing to adapt to situations as they evolved, to be present. Perhaps you were operating from some space of some things just never change, right? That kind of ended up putting you in a state of feeling behind, feeling left behind. But what I'm seeing here is this rebirth. Now, on the other side of envy is also joy and celebration. Because sometimes when we're envious, it's because we feel that we know that we're deserving of something, right? But perhaps we're just not putting in the effort or seeing that those things that happen around us are the universe's way of showing us that it's possible. You've allowed yourself to feel like something was impossible. You allowed yourself to feel like there was a lack of opportunity or no space for you somewhere. And it left you really disheartened. And it could also be like whatever setbacks had occurred, you feel like it's another obstacle in your way, something that's telling you to not keep going. There may have been times where you've wanted to kind of give up, right? So here we have time, shadow, and guides. So what I'm getting here is that one of the things that I talk about in my practice is about healing with time. Sometimes we get really ahead of ourselves. And when we also feel like when we're behind, sometimes we're a little ahead of ourselves and ahead of divine timing in terms of expectation or anticipation of events. And with this shadow side, it could just be something about not allowing yourself the time to enjoy when you're in slower periods of growth, slower periods of action, instead of seeing them as this is my time to relax, to enjoy, to get creative, to do things other than simply work or keep busy. Instead, you see it as a punishment, the universe, or something kind of being withheld from you, or you feeling like, that there's always just an obstacle. It's like you wear yourself out in these times when you could be resting, you could, be recuperating from something, you could be integrating something, right? And it's like give time for things to be illuminated. We have the cycles of night and day for a reason. They, in a way, tell us that we have our own nights and days of the soul, right? Of our experience, where things are emotional and dark, but yet ripe with potential. A true reflection of what we carry within us versus the daytime when things are warm, everything is illuminated, and we're ready to be out in the world, and we have all this energy, we're receiving energy and radiating it off as well. Let's see. And then we have the guides here, which really looks like water. Every time I see this card, it just reminds me of water. So I don't know if you're dealing with someone who is a watery sign, or whether or not you're dealing, I'm also thinking like Oya, that energy, like storm energy, something here, something about like that kind of orderly chaos, probably kind of like a dark feminine energy. It can be very destructive yet balancing. It's powerful yet compassionate. And perhaps there's a need to refine that type of energy if you hold that within yourself. Because perhaps you're someone who is kind of like, it's my way or the highway. It's very, it's very Aries of you. It's very Aries of you. But it also just, I feel like there's some type of stubbornness here that needs to be released. Maybe you're looking at something with too critical of an eye, whether it's at yourself or towards someone else or some situation. And there's something here about relationships, right? And I feel like there's some aspect of you and how you show up in relationships and what you expect from them that you're not offering yourself. So let's pull some tarot. All right, we have the Four of Wands reversed. We have the High Priestess. And we have the King of Cups. So yeah, definitely something about connection and the ways you connect with others. Maybe you've lost some certain connections here, feel disconnected from certain people. Really kind of wondering where your tribe is. I just want to show you these cards real quick. So yeah, Four of Wands, High Priestess, King of Cups. And we're seeing a lot of blue and red here. A lot of blue and red. And the thing is, I feel like people pick up on your spaces of insecurity. Perhaps you really tell on yourself. And there are certain people who just don't want to invite that type of energy in because it's something that they themselves are either working on or have worked on. I feel like there are people around you perhaps working on similar lessons here. And it's not that you've been abandoned. It's just that sometimes when we're in like a soul group and we're all doing the same work, we may kind of separate ourselves, to get into that hermit mode, to seek that knowledge that we can then turn into wisdom next time a situation arises, next time that knowledge needs to be put to action, right? And it's like things feel unstable. It's almost like you can't get your mind right. And so you're kind of relying on these people to come forth to maybe talk some things out. But really it's spirit wanting you to go within and connect with yourself here. I also feel like there's someone that you may have said something to them that I'm getting a little bit of pressure in my right ear, like leaning in. Perhaps you've said something to them that they're just now realizing is something that doesn't sit well. You may have said something and unknowingly communicated something either about yourself and what you're working on, and some of the internal lessons or narratives that you perpetuate with others. And it may explain some type of behavior or pattern that you exhibit when it comes to your relationships and your creativity. And I feel like someone is protecting their energy here, and it's important to, right? But it's like there should only be respect for that when that occurs. Underneath, we have the Temperance card. So there's a resistance toward kind of playing with what's there. There's a resistance toward understanding and being compassionate toward yours and other people's actions, finding the kindness in them. Because even when some people seem unkind to us, there is always some type of love or care there. Like when people get defensive or get angry, it's because they care about something. And you're someone who cares deeply, but may not always show it in ways that seem kind or seem caring. You may be someone who is really motivated in a way, who seems to be really motivated or offers a lot of tough love, but isn't willing to receive it. Let's go a little bit deeper here. Okay, we have the Six of Swords. We have the Knight of Swords. And we have the Five of Pentacles. So we have the Six of Swords with this Four of Wands. And it's like needing to maybe change change what makes you feel comfortable and secure, changing your relationship with time, right? It could just be, you're really tired of constantly maybe reinventing yourself or having to go through all of these changes because you just want to get settled, You just want some stability. You just want something that can be long-term, that you can rely on and count on. Perhaps there's information that you're waiting to hear about, something to come of some of the things that have happened to you in the recent past. And here with the High Priestess, we have the Knight of Swords. So there's got to be this kind of clearing away of the shadow, of the things that you fear, right? You've got to feel more confident in the face of that adversity. And all of the things that come with it. You are entering a space of kind of reinvention and evolution, but you're seeing it almost as an ending, this kind of like thing where nothing, like, well, what comes after it, right? Instead of seeing that this is good, what lies on the other side, getting curious about it. This Five of Pentacles and this King of Cups with the Guides card. So Five of Pentacles in this King of Cups. It could just be that people have a change in priorities, right? Everyone kind of goes through their own seasons, and we're not always synced up. It's almost like there's a self-fulfilling prophecy of some sort here, of having to find a new sanctuary. You also may be moving homes or moving workplaces. I also feel that too, but there's a change in resources here. And I also feel like energetically speaking, the boundary making, the whole thing about people kind of going into their own space when they're making changes, when they're doing work, is because they, in this day and age, it's sometimes difficult to maintain one's energy, right? And you're being called upon to maintain your energy here. It may be difficult. I also feel like there may be someone around you, I'm not sure, this may not resonate with everyone, but someone who may have a drinking problem but doesn't quite admit it. And so there's like a withholding here. Maybe you don't feel things are being reciprocated as you'd like them to be. Maybe certain duties, chores, responsibilities. And I feel like there's a need for strength. All right, here we have the Four of Wands upright. Interesting, with the Four of Wands and the Six of Swords. And then we have the Chariot card. I want that to be upright, the Chariot card. And then the Knight of Cups. Interesting. Okay. So this Four of Wands, this Chariot, this Knight of Cups. I feel like the universe is testing you in ways that are highly, unusual, unexpected. Things don't always come the way that they're supposed that we feel like they're supposed to, right? And there's some type of role that you aspire to take on, someone that you aspire to be, something that you aspire to contribute here. But you're not seeing this as quite the opportunity to do so because it's a bit unorthodox. Maybe it's a little too personal. Maybe you thought things would be happening more so in the career plane, but they're happening in your personal sphere. Because you cannot come to a space of authority and of support if you do not have the proper experience, resources, and tools to make those shifts happen, right? Then we have the Chariot here. And it's a need to get perspective, perhaps on the ways in which you think, the ways in which you try to clear the path ahead. Perhaps you are a little abrasive, defensive, combative, right? Combative with your words, your thoughts, and there's got to be a way to bring things into balance. Things may be too one-sided. It may put people off. It may get you off track. So if there's a lot of anger, animosity built up, it can put you off the track that you are pursuing. And so it may feel like you're taking longer to get to that space, right? And then I'm kind of looking at this crab on the Chariot card. And I'm just thinking about, again, that protection, that being in one shell, like that mystery, that withholding. And maybe you've held things from yourself. Maybe you've created blind spots within your own experiences and feelings that have caused or that fuel this animosity, that fuel this like charging forward in a very destructive kind of way that's taking you off of your intended path. And then we have this Knight of Cups here with the King of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. And it's like there's a need to take a step back here to really get the messages that your imagination, your mind, get the messages of what your thoughts are creating, where your thoughts are being created from. Because here on this card it says surfer. And it's like you gotta ride the waves or get swallowed up by them, right? And maybe there are some big waves you were trying to catch, but not quite prepared to do so. It also could be that you were attempting to get in on someone else's wave, perhaps. That could be another thing. But it's like you want to offer something to someone, but there is something, like this King of Cups is indicating, something behind your back, right? Could also be like there have been some ups and downs in a situation that you need to move on from, but it's going to set you back a little bit. And so you're going to have to make some quick moves, some quick decisions that has you in your feels a bit. There may be a little angst regarding it, kind of going back to the having to start over, or this is just how it always is. But if you're able to recognize the root of your thoughts, your action, your consciousness that you've carried through this space up until now, you can potentially shift it. You can really get clear on the paths that you've been taking and how to free yourself, how to open up a new world of experience and security. And then we have the Ace of Swords, yes. Gaining that clarity, finding your brilliance, finding the brilliance in the defined plan and how things unfold. So that is what I have for you, Aries. I hope that was helpful. Again, check the description box for all those goodies I mentioned before. Bye for now.